Hey, this is just kind of an update because it's been a little while since I made a video. There are so many things going on. I don't even know, what to go over first. So, basically, I got the Retrobit Genesis 8-button USB pad, and it's actually fantastic. I'm pleasantly surprised, by how nice it is, and that gamepad actually led me to modify the joystick support in Final Fight because basically joysticks have different types of inputs. There's like the actual joystick X and Y, and then there's hat switches. And the difference is that basically hat switches, which tend to be like the directional pads on modern controllers, are digital buttons, and joysticks are analog. And so in any case, like the Xbox and PlayStation 4 gamepads, well, actually, and even the Logitech Rumble Pad, all of them use hat switch controls for the directional pad, and so that was all I had programmed. But it turns out that the Genesis, that Retrobit 8, Genesis pad, it actually doesn't use hat switches for its directional pad. It uses just X and Y joystick, and so I added support for that. And so the nice thing about this, the flip side of this, is that even if you use like a DualShock 4 or Xbox pad or whatever, you can actually use both the analog stick and the directional pads to control the game now. So that's nice. And just a little bit of trivia in case you care at all. When I was doing the support for the analog joysticks there, I realized that the Xbox gamepad is kind of weird in that it sends its analog stick data as 16-bit data. And so, like when you move your your analog stick up in an Xbox pad, for example, that data is sent as a 16-bit number, and basically basically every other joystick I tried, pretty much the other ones, they all put the data as an 8-bit number. And so basically the trivia there is there's actually a little bit more precision in Xbox analog sticks than other gamepads, and so I had to put in support for that. Basically, when we use raw input to grab the analog joystick, we have to determine whether we're going to be dealing with 8-bit or 16-bit data. And so basically like the numbers that you get when you move analog sticks around, like if you move up you'll get negative something, and if you move down you'll get positive something. And so the range in the Xbox pad is around negative 32,000 to positive 32,000, and for most of the other pads it's basically just negative 128 to positive 128. It's much smaller number, a lot less granular. And so so you can see I got Relento here. The thing that I've done here, it's just so fucking nuts. So you can see how we're playing at 21:9 aspect ratio, and because of that, the calculation is giving us, the elevator beams, like or the building beams like this. And so I showed you the damned escape sequence last time, but let me show you the Relento escape sequence work in progress here, and. And the thing that's so crazy about this, and just how much work went into this, is basically you'll notice here. So we have 3 things, right? See how he jumps up there, and then he can hop down. Okay, well that's fine. But basically, like the crazy ass thing that's happened here is, the game actually calculates depending on the position and where Relento lands. Like what the closest section of beam available, that he has to jump to. And so, depending on where he is, it actually knows. See how he jumped over there because he was closer to the right? And so the crazy thing is here, so that was 21:9 aspect ratio. basically, if I play at some crazy ass 64:9 aspect ratio, and the game generates more many more beams here, you can see that it's always going to work. So like basically, it doesn't matter what the size of the screen is. So as far as I know, this is probably the first 2D game that I can think of where the like the enemy logic actually changes depending on the aspect ratio of the game. And so a lot of fucking work has gone into this. I'm still testing some things out and tweaking it to get it to where I want. But basically though, the game is completely aware of the geometry that makes up the the beams in the background, and it can intelligently choose, all right, where can I jump, which space do I have available, and so basically the only part remaining is once he jumps up there, I'm going to have him like bounce around in between the spots that he has available to throw grenades at you, and it's crazy too, because like if you just play at 69 or 4:3, there's only really like one long beam. It doesn't actually need to build out separate beams there, and so depending on the aspect ratio, it actually figures it out. And so like he actually behaves differently when he jumps up there depending on the aspect ratio of the game. So if there's only one beam, he'll just run straight across and throw grenades. But if there's multiple, like this, he'll actually jump around between the gaps that he has there and throw grenades at you. So yeah, it's fucking crazy, man. A lot of other work has been done. I've done like just a lot of really nice tweaking on the the gameplay, specifically like how I handle some things on inputs, where just like a lot of tweaking that just makes the game feel like extra nice. So basically, after testing it for a while, with some people and getting some feedback and really getting a feel for it, I came to realize that I probably wanted to adjust the way I handle like auto attacking. And so basically before you could basically always hold down the the attack buttons to attack even in midair. Yeah, see that shit? See how he knows to jump up there? And like if I knock him around, farther across the room, you'll see that it adjusts where he jumps up. But in any case, like with the auto attacking, the new logic is he can't like your character. You can't hold down the button to keep doing attacks when you are in the air. You can do it on the ground, but you can't do it in the air. And so basically that prevents some like spammable abilities that you used to have in like the older builds of the game that I had out there, and makes it feel a lot nicer. And also like I've implemented just like a lot of really subtle quality of life things. Like for example, if you get knocked down, you can see that if you rapidly push the buttons, you'll actually get up faster. See if he gets knocked down. See how the animation plays faster because I was tapping the buttons. So yeah, there's a lot of it. Oh, and also too, I've implemented stuff where like on the continue screen, see how like if you press buttons, it actually like skips on the continue. Just all that little stuff. Just a lot of like really minor tweaks, just to really polish and finish this puppy up and make it perfect. Yeah, and I've done just like a lot of really minor, hitbox adjustment tweaks, just to make things feel, absolutely perfect. I mean, honestly, I've done so many things. I honestly can't even fucking remember anymore. There have been so many, subtle, tweaks and improvements. It's really hard to even remember what the fuck I've done. Yeah, it's pretty nice. And so I wanted to cover, the Genesis pad. So yeah, so basically next build that I put up, you'll be able to use analog sticks. It'll work with the Retrobit USB Genesis pad. the escape sequences should be in there. The Andore event to grab you and bring you to the ring stage should be in there. And Andor characters charge you. There's a lot of extra stuff going in there. Like the weapons and the tweaked animation frames, for holding weapons. A lot of that stuff. There's just a shitload of stuff in there, and it's it really is nuts. And even like really minor stuff too, like there was an issue where when life bars were scrolling outside of the screen, you could like they were actually animating while they were still scrolling left and right, and you could just see right there, like I've adjusted that so the animation pauses now when the HUD is scrolling onto the screen. Just a lot of really nice subtle shit. It's it is coming along. It's fucking insane. It's unprecedented. Really nothing like this has ever been done. Actually supporting all this shit. And so I guess I'll just finish this off talking about Sekiro, that new Shinobi From Software game that just came out. Look at that fucking beautiful reflection in the elevator. It's awesome. So basically, I like Sekiro. It's neat, but I just want to fucking complain about it because, I bust my ass, to just in my spare time to make a game that actually supports PC hardware, and it just really fucking infuriates me that people are still shipping games that are such broken pieces of crap. So, like Sekiro, it's capped at 60 frames a second. First of all, it needs a hex edit to even work at 21:9 aspect ratio. They didn't support different aspect ratios. It's so fucking stupid. The game has like a shitload of input lag, like a ridiculous amount of input lag. I don't know what the fuck these guys are doing. It's just, I said Japanese console developers. I mean, really, they don't know how to make games. They don't know how to program games. It's like they think they're still making a Super Nintendo game or something, and they only have to program games to run on one piece of hardware. It's fucking primitive and embarrassing. But but regardless though, it's just kind of like the other From Software games. It has awesome art direction, and the strength of the art direction just props the whole thing up. So it's tolerable. That's basically their saving grace. It's always has been. There was one more topic that I wanted to bring up because I'm really disappointed with Nvidia. They have been releasing drivers that have just been complete pieces of shit. Like with the latest Nvidia drivers. I have a computer with HDMI out to a receiver, and that is how I do audio on my gaming computer. And with the latest fucking drivers, like half the time I have to restart Windows after I first turn on the machine just to get it to fucking start pumping audio through the receiver. It's just busted, and I mean, in like now with these latest drivers, occasionally the screen flickers, it just like flashes, and I thought it was just me, but apparently it's just a widespread thing. It has something to do with like G-Sync and multiple monitors. It's a fucking joke, I mean, half of the reason that I always went with Nvidia was that they tended to have better drivers than AMD, but they've just really been fucking blowing it lately. I don't even know if I'm going to go AMD next time, honestly. Because at least if you get an AMD card, that down the road, you could always use that AMD card for a Groovy MAME computer to, just to output to a CRT or something. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know about Nvidia anymore. They're fucking blowing it. So that's just a little update on, some of the stuff I'm working on. There are some other things that I wanted to mention, but this video is already too long.